talk about executives not being trained in this, I've got a story that with Martin involved was, I think, in a way more tragic. Martin was kind enough to help me work with the Children's Hospital. We talked about this concept of empathy in a children's hospital. My friend Telly, the actor, Telly, the young Broadway star, did a thing for the hospital too. And I said, well, I'm sure that you all have had a lot of training in empathy and caring for people and how to deal with that. You know, given you're CEO of a children's hospital, you work in a children's hospital. The answer was zero, just zero.
That's
and
very interesting. Yeah.
This is not a business. No. We're talking about a children's hospital,
right,
not a business. I mean, the business, I totally agree with you, Daniel. I totally agree with you on the business. But if it's important in a business, it's got to be important times 10 in a children's hospital.
You know, we've been studying organizations that do value emotional intelligence. One of the premier ones is the nation's number one cancer hospital, MD Anderson in Texas. Yeah, but cancer diagnosis, go there for a second opinion. They're state of the art. The CEO, Peter Pfister, is a big advocate, a champion for emotional intelligence. He makes sure that all the people coming in know this, that they have a culture of it, because it embodies caring. And the mission of a hospital, of course, is not to make money. The mission is to help people. And I actually think that as time goes on, it's going to be more important for companies of all kinds to embrace a values-based mission, because younger people are facing a bleak future, which is a byproduct, a side effect of the way our economy has worked. And I think that they will want to work for companies and stay with companies and organizations that have values that match their own. And, you know, this, of course, has to do with climate change, but equity, many other values. And I think that the value dimension, which, by the way, in emotional intelligence comes out as self-awareness, knowing what matters to you, what has meaning for you. That dimension will become more and more important in the business world as time goes on.
Daniel, we're going to bring in a guest very soon, which is an associate to you. But before we do that, I have a question from us authors to you, because you have established a term which became the term, as just Maslow was saying, it became a Xerox of the world, right? What was the trick to do that? Where did that begin?
The answer is dumb luck. I wrote the book, and then HBR, Harvard Business Review, picked it up. They ran an article I wrote called What Makes a Leader? It became their #1 most requested reprint. Then they started a whole series of books featuring emotional intelligence. And I think that really put it on the map for leadership and for business. I actually didn't have much to do with it. I was just a passive recipient. It was, you know, the gods, if there are gods, struck that was my secret. I don't know how to do it, frankly.
Just for all of you guys watching out there, it's nothing to do with the quality of his books, of course. It's just pure luck. And let's see if we believe that one right. Okay, coming up, our next guest not only claims that an organization which is emotional intelligence is doing better, she has the evidence to prove it. Our second guest on today's show is Sharon Ridgell, originally a lawyer from Berkeley. She is a senior human resource business leader at the Progressive Corporation, which, by the way, is an American insurance company, the 3rd largest insurance carrier, and the #1 commercial auto insurer in the US. Welcome, Sharon.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Listen, I noticed your story. You just told me before we went live about how you're an immigrant, and you came from South Korea at the age of 5 into the United States, and you had a fascinating observation about how immigrants have an interesting behavior in a business world to get up the ladder.
Right. So happy to share my story. It's, you know, when we came to the States, my family and I, we were very kind of traditional immigrants. We were seeking a better world and a better life for us. And my parents in Korea, we were like really poor, right? So poor, we didn't have indoor plumbing, right? So you're coming to the States thinking you're gonna have a better life. Well, with that comes this work ethic and this notion that you're gonna do whatever it takes to be successful in this new country. Emotions are just an indulgence. Doesn't matter if you feel good or bad, you get up and you go to work and you keep putting one foot in front of the other. So my whole life, starting at 5, I thought of emotions as an indulgence I couldn't afford. So that meant that I spent most of my adult life, not even knowing how to name emotions. It served me well in law because frankly, you learn a very high tolerance for stress, emotional pain, and just getting through the day. It's win or lose, right? So shutting down how you feel about something is actually a pretty useful tool. And being able to segment your thoughts and feelings, highly useful. When you get into a leadership role, though, that's a different story. And emotional intelligence is so critical to becoming an effective leader.
So tell me more about this. Now, you're an insurance company. For me, that's numbers, numbers, and numbers. How did you pave the way for emotional intelligence? It seems like water and oil to me.
Well, as Dan said, I was put into an HR role, leadership role, because I was good at my legal role. I was an employment and labor lawyer for the company before I was selected for an HR director role with the commercial auto group. And what I found is that I was woefully unprepared for a leadership role. I was very good at identifying legal issues, devising various options, and recommending ways to proceed. But I really had no idea, really no sense of how do you motivate individuals? How do you help them be better in their role, the coaching aspects of leadership? I just didn't know how to do it. And what I found, I picked up a book called Emotional Intelligence. I read it and I thought, this is the key. This is really so important. And the following a 4-domain process of identifying and understanding how I am feeling, whether it was lost or enthusiastic or frustrated. If I understood how I felt at that moment, now I had some information I didn't have before. It's in my awareness. And now I have some choices about how I'm going to manage my behaviors, choices about what will this feeling enable me to do next? How will I make it effective? And in doing that, I was able to then think about, well, how do my peers, my direct reports, my managers feel? This empathic quality, so important in social awareness, right? Understanding and reading the room. Then in doing that, I was able to develop relationships with people, trusting, credible, and forming these relationships were the vehicle for collaborating on teams, project outcomes, and really led to my ability to be an effective leader. And that's been, over 15 years since, and I'm still at it. It takes practice every day.